Mr. Speaker, I rise to give my fullest support to the 2024-25 budget and to echo the sentiments of my colleagues before me in genuinely and wholeheartedly congratulating the Honorable Minister for Finance and his team for once again outlining a detailed fiscal plan for our country, one that inspires hope for our people as we build a platform for sustainable growth and development. Mr. Speaker, this budget, as can be seen, was not crafted in abstract, but every attempt has been made through various consultations to present a budget grounded in practicality, a budget that reflects the needs of every Dominican. But, Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, please allow me to convey greetings to the constituents of Grand Fond, Monjon, Rivière, Sirik, Foyal, and Tefem, all of whom I owe a debt of gratitude for affording me the opportunity to represent them in this honorable House. I want to thank them for their support, their words of encouragement, their advice, their prayers, and their critiques, for these two helped me in being better able to chart a course forward for their overall development. Mr. Speaker, whilst my colleague, the Honorable Oscar George, has already conferred accolades, it would be remiss of me if I do not offer my own personal congratulations to our sportsmen and women, Kevin Hodge, Ali Cathanas, Stephen Pascal, and Thea Lafont, who have made us proud as Dominicans. I want them to know, Mr. Speaker, that their achievements have been an inspiration to us all, especially to aspiring athletes across the island. Their dedication, talent, and hard work have set them apart, and I celebrate their achievements and wish them continued success in the future. I also wish to acknowledge all of our other sportsmen and women who have excelled in their field of sports during the past year. Sincerest gratitude goes out to our sports coordinator, Mr. Trevor Shillingford, and all our sports officers and youth sports officers, and of course our stadium manager, Mr. Gafford Joseph. Mr. Speaker, I have been tasked with the responsibility of the Ministry of Culture, Youth Sports and Community Development, a ministry that has generally been regarded as a people's ministry. It is a ministry of diverse portfolios to include sports, youth, culture, cooperatives, postal services, and community development. And because of the high degree of importance placed on this ministry, I am particularly blessed to have with me an esteemed sportsman and youthful colleague minister, the Honorable George, a perfect team player, Mr. Speaker, and to him I say thank you. During the last fiscal year, we were able to successfully implement various programs and activities in spite of some non-unique challenges that we faced. So, Mr. Speaker, permit me to inform this Honorable House of some of our accomplishments for the 2023-2024 period. Culture. Mr. Speaker, culture is the soul of a nation, the heart that beats to the rhythm of our collective identity. It is a mirror that reflects the essence of who we are, where we have been, and where we are heading. The Cultural Division, Mr. Speaker, therefore plays a pivotal role in the planning and execution of programs and activities throughout the year, geared at preserving and developing our culture. Training remains a key component as it relates to the preservation of Dominican culture, and the division continued to spearhead training in the arts through programs targeting school and community-based groups, as well as the Dominica Institute for the Arts, DIFA. In an attempt at preserving our cultural traditions, art forms, and expressions, The division maintained the collection of visual media. This research and documentation was accomplished by digitizing archived audiovisual media for the purpose of robust long-term storage and future dissemination. Instructional videos were also produced as learning aids for cultural dances, the national wear, and the playing of traditional instruments. The promotion of our culture was a significant aspect of the division's annual calendar of activities, highlighting the National Schools Arts Festival, Emancipation, Domfesta, Independence, and Heritage Day, among others. In an attempt to broaden the appeal of these cultural activities, the use of creative mediums became necessary, and so the introduction of new activities, such as fusion and Afro-artistic, during Domfesta and Emancipation, respectively, sought to showcase traditional culture on a platform shared with contemporary counterparts. Old Mass Jouvet edition, which was staged at Point Michel for 2 consecutive years, is another event where traditional art forms and expressions were given their own time and place, attracting thousands to the community.
Remember, you would like permission to refer to your notes?
Yeah, I forgot, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Forgive me. May
right.
I please have permission
Yeah.
to refer to my notes?
Permission granted.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
The National School Arts Festival continues to serve as a breeding ground for young talent in many cultural aspects, attracting hundreds of our students from within the primary and secondary school system. Thanks to all the teachers and community leaders who work tirelessly with our students in honing their skills in the various art forms. During the financial year, we successfully staged the 2023 Independence celebrations, opening at the Teaser Ground in Maho and culminating with the grand celebration of Heritage Day at Woodford Hill. Commendations go out to the parliamentary representative, the Honorable Grant, Ms. Greenaway, and the Heritage Day Committee for a job well done. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I wish to offer sincerest gratitude to all our cultural enthusiasts and practitioners who came out to assist and participate in the various district cultural festivals, the Wabduyat and the Madam of Madame shows, and all other activities during our celebrations. I must also single out and commend the adult, children's, and kiddies cultural groups from my constituency under the guidance of Mr. Buddy Phillip. Your efforts at keeping culture alive in the constituency will not be forgotten. Another highlight, Mr. Speaker, was a highly revered annual Team Culture community outreach drive, in which the staff reached out to deserving individuals around the island, delivering tokens and appreciations to those who have made meaningful contributions to the arts and culture. Mr. Speaker, it is always gratifying to show appreciation, to give flowers, as is said, to others. And strangely, Mr. Speaker, one of these tokens were given just in time to Mr. Ashworth Simon, better known as Brown, one of our cultural stalwarts who passed away recently. May his soul rest in peace. The Golden Drum Awards, which was just held last week, is another grand event where nationals and cultural practitioners are awarded for their stellar contribution to the arts. Congratulations again to all of our recipients. Let me thank the hardworking people at the Cultural Division, Mr. Urson Matthew and his team. Hats off to all of you. Teamwork really does make the dream work. At this time, I want to salute also our new cultural ambassador, Mr. Leroy Waddix Charles. We all know that he has been a driving force in promoting our culture, breathing life into our cultural heritage, both here and in the diaspora. Mr. Speaker, I wish him well, and it will certainly be a pleasure working with him in his new role. Mr. Speaker, the renovation works at the Arawak House of Culture has been faced with challenges over the past years. This financial year, completion of rehabilitation works will be our top priority. The ministry has conducted an assessment of the status of the project and has prepared an in-house estimate for its recommencement very early in this financial year, and we are looking forward to its completion by the end of this year. It will be done by the end of this year. For some reason, I get the impression you all don't want anything to happen in this country. It will happen. By the grace of God, it will happen. It will happen. You all just want something to talk about. It will happen. Speak about the good things happening. Oh, sorry. Mr. Speaker, I think we have to pass a bill in this parliament for us to be able to speak Creole. As the culture minister, maybe I should say that. It is difficult. We are talking to people, especially our elderly people who love to listen to parliament. People buy little radio just to lie down on their bed and listen to us. And we are trying to speak perfect English in the house. Use big words that they themselves don't understand.
Well, I've said it's up to the parliamentarian. It's a democracy. I'm very fluent in Creole, so I can understand, I can speak, and I'm from Roseau. So it's up to members.
I don't see why. I mean, I saw the St. Lucia parliament, and in St. Lucia, everybody was speaking Creole easily, no problem. So let's try to do that, man. Mr. Speaker, the budget makes provisions also for the Cultural Training and Resilience Center at Paybush. We all know that Paybush is a cultural hub, and the cultural group under the leadership of Ms. Rosalind Paul, former Minister of Culture, has been actively engaged in cultural activities in the North for the past 40 years. And I am happy that we are able to work with them on this center. Mr. Speaker, I also know the PAL rep representing the cultural capital of Dominica, the Right Honorable Vince Henderson. He's awaiting works to begin on Matutu's Park. PAL rep, you're on. I want the people of Grand Bay to know that you have been literally harassing me. You want Matutu's Park. You want work to be done there. And this budget clearly spells this out. We will commit to our promise for rehabilitation works to commence as soon as we possibly can. Okay, darling? Love you, my dear. Mr. Speaker, sometime last year, the Honorable Prime Minister made a pronouncement emphasizing the need for focus to be placed on cultural enterprise development, targeting 3 districts in Dominica, namely the North, the Northeast, and the Kalinago Territory. I wish to applaud the work of Ms. Paul again, Ms. Rosalind Paul, my consultant at the Ministry of Culture, who is facilitating and spearheading this development. So far, the ministry has undertaken a series of community consultation, stakeholder engagements, mapping of community cultural assets, sharing of expert and indigenous knowledge, and joint site visits and assessments. Through this, we were able to assess the potential for cultural enterprise development, the culture ecosystem, and existing environment within those targeted districts. The exercise highlighted the rich cultural heritage of the North, Northeast, and Kalinago communities, and various platforms which can be explored for cultural enterprise development, more particularly through community heritage tourism and events. We also discussed how these communities can leverage the potential opportunities offered through the upcoming international airport and the marina. These interactions informed two important documents which will assist us in taking the process forward. One, the mapping of cultural assets and culture entrepreneurship ecosystem, and two, a draft strategic plan for cultural enterprise development through community heritage tourism. All these initiatives warrant the need for a review of Dominica's policy on culture, a major undertaking for this new financial year. It must be reviewed if cultural enterprise development is to align with current trends. Mr. Speaker, I move to the Ministry of Youth. And whilst Honorable George may have touched on one or two things, I was quite disturbed. And every time we come to say something about what Mr. Paris says, he's never there. But I was quite disturbed when the senator referred to the Ministry of Youth as not doing anything for the young people. This ruffled my feathers. I don't have feathers to chiffon in my clothes. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have done so much for the youth of this country. We had Mr. Roll last night, Honorable Roll, speaking on what has been done at the Dominica Youth Business Trust. Mr. Speaker, we give guidance to our young entrepreneurs. And according to your mantra, we work from vision to reality. People who want to start a business, just come to the office. They work with you. They draft out your little business plan for you. They try to seek funding. What you all want again? I was one of those handing out checks to people who have started business. $25,000. Mr. Speaker, you ask yourself, what do I have to do again? People have to take advantage of the opportunities that this government is putting out for people. We are making these things available. Put out yourself. Unless nowadays they want the Minister of Youth to walk in every community and say, come, 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 we have something, come for it. Mr. Speaker, the Youth Skills Training Program, Mr. Paris, Honorable Paris, Senator Paris, I'm happy you're back. The Youth Skills Training Programs. Over the years, we have done so many of those programs for our young people. We walk about, our youth officers, they carry out a survey. And it's not what we want, it's what they want. Electricals, plumbing, masonry, tiling, some called cake decorating. I think we even did the hairdressing, computer literacy, auto body repair, small engine repair. I can keep going and going. Youth in agriculture. Youth in agriculture.
That's fine.
No, but talk about the things that have been happening, my dear. Jesus Christ. But I'm the minister, I have to speak about what has been happening. Education, scholarships, tuition at the state college, free. We have the 4-H program, Mr. Speaker. The 4-H program falls under two ministries, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Youth, under the leadership of our 4-H director, Mr. Bert Paul, and Ms. Abraham from the Youth Coordinator at the Ministry of Youth. I must thank them both, of course, wholeheartedly for the work they have been doing. and for the young people at our schools, both primary and secondary. Presently, we are working with 54 primary school 4-H clubs and 10 secondary 4-H clubs. These youth are exposed to modern agricultural practices, agro-processing, entrepreneurship, leadership skills and competencies, team building exercises, culinary arts, and public speaking. Mr. Speaker, I'm very appreciative of the work Mr. Bert Paul has done since he took up the role as director of the 4-H Club. He's very passionate about his job. 4-H has taken a whole new meaning. And Mr. Paul, if you are looking or listening, take a bow. You have done well. We also want to thank the teachers at the various schools who have devoted their time to ensuring that in spite of their heavy workloads, that 4-H programs at the schools can continue to thrive. Our guides, girl guides and cadets are meeting regularly with structured programs aimed at empowering our young boys and girls, building character, self-esteem, and discipline so they can all make a positive difference in their schools and in their communities. Just last month, we held investiture ceremonies under the distinguished patronage of Her Excellency the President for 60 new cadets and 43 girl guides. I applaud the work of Ms. Joseph Seraphine Hedrington, Ms. Gloria Webb from the Girl Guides Association, and Major Fitzroy Leon and Commandant Joseph Raymond for their continued efforts at grooming our young men and women into responsible, well-rounded citizens. Let me also congratulate Commandant Joseph Raymond, who was recently made chairman of the Caribbean Commandants Association. Basic Needs Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, the Basic Needs Trust Fund, BNTF, has for many years been undertaking poverty reduction initiatives with communities through the establishment of community-based infrastructure and skills training programs. Our primary outlook for 2024-25 is the implementation and completion of the BNTF 10 program and to begin the process of determining priority projects for BNTF 11. Mr. Speaker, 7 projects were approved in 3 targeted sectors in the last financial year, and these are presently in the advanced stage for commencement of actual works. These projects targeted 3 areas, namely education and human resource development, basic community access and drainage, and water and sanitation systems enhancement. These projects were approved for the Berean Christian Academy School Extension, the Delices Playing Field Upgrade, the Trafalgar Basketball Facility, the Grand Bay Multi-Purpose Facility completion, Clifton Back Road refurbishment, and the Paybush Water Enhancement Project. We initially had 7 projects. We experienced some challenges, and I need to applaud Honorable Charles Pemberton, who willingly agreed to hold back her project, the Soufriere Fish Processing Facility. I want to reassure this beautiful lady that this project, already approved by the CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, will be the first project on the BNTF 11 in 2025. Thank you, Ms. Pemberton. The budget allocation, Mr. Speaker, for this project is $6,570 million, 95% of which is grant funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, with government's contribution $328,612 and 15% value-added tax, which brings it to a total of $7,560,000. To date, Mr. Speaker, all consultancy contracts which are the technical consultants for design and supervision, have been signed, and work is set for August this year. In preparation for the full implementation and timely completion of this project, the ministry is boosting its staff complement with the engagement of a monitoring and evaluation officer, administrative and accounting officer, and a community liaison officer. This, we believe, will greatly contribute to meeting our targeted completion date in December. As we move on, our goal is to complete these projects and to identify priority projects for BNTF 11, which is set to begin in 2025. Mr. Speaker, our postal services play a vital role in connecting communities, facilitating communication, and supporting economic development. The rise in digital communication and e-commerce has led to a significant decline in traditional mail volumes as technology continues to transform the way in which we communicate and conduct business. So, Mr. Speaker, in order to remain relevant and to ensure sustainability, the Caribbean Postal Union and the Universal Postal Union has been working with our employees and ministers of postal services to examine options to diversify our product and service offerings, to tap into new revenue streams, and to improve social services and thus strengthen connectivity in the region. In the meantime, our staff has received overseas training in disaster risk management, advanced electronic data and customs declaration systems, transportation workshops, operation readiness for e-commerce, and trainer workshops, all of which were fully funded by the Universal Postal Union. In addition to these overseas workshops, the Universal Postal Union also conducted virtual training online for a total of 15 of our staff members. With these, Mr. Speaker, our postal service is now better positioned to perform the duties and to deliver effective and efficient services to our customers. One of our major challenges for CPU countries lay in the transportation of mail to other Caribbean islands, since some of the airlines do not have licenses to transport mail. But I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the CEO and manager of the Intercaribbean, who has come forward and has agreed to assist us in this matter in the interim while negotiations continue. Cooperatives. The cooperative division seeks to foster sustainable economic and social development through viable cooperative enterprises in fisheries, agriculture, and industrial sector. Presently, there are 29 cooperatives across the island, distributed over 4 districts, with the southern district, of course, being the most active, having the most active groups. The division has also, over the years, developed savings unionettes. I think the minister alluded to that last night, in both primary and secondary schools, with 51 of these unionettes on the island, Mr. Speaker. Dominica has become the leader in cooperatives, having the highest level of membership penetration in the world. I thank Ms. Canoville and her dedicated staff for the efforts at building communities through cooperatives. Local government and community development. Mr. Speaker, the Division of Local Government and Community Development provides oversight for 42 local government bodies on the island. These councils, both village and town councils, facilitate community development and the delivery of decentralized local services, including government social protection programs. Over the financial year, we were witness to 18 council elections and inauguration ceremonies. And just recently, the Kalinago chief elections was held. We hope to have elections next Wednesday to elect a Kalinago council to run the affairs of this community. Mr. Speaker, all these elections have generated a high level of community involvement. But what is worthy of note as well, Mr. Speaker, is the heightened involvement of our young people coming forward to serve their communities as councillors. Mr. Speaker, for the good governance of these communities, there is a need for making and updating our existing bylaws, especially those with regards to house and business rates and animal control. This behoves us, therefore, Mr. Speaker, to finalize the review of the local government bills for presentation to Cabinet, which includes the draft Village Council Bill, Municipalities Bill, and the amendment to the Kalinago Act, all of which have been prepared with the assistance of the Attorney General's chambers. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all those who have taken up the mantle to lead as councillors in their various districts, and I wish them well. The month of May every year is designated as Local Government Month, and this year we celebrated under the theme Local Government Maximizing Opportunities for Community Transformation. Several activities form part of the program, which included a focus on education, discussions with councillors on the proposed legislation in building community resilience. Several of our community activities were held, which served to build community cohesion and extend government's visibility in communities around the island. With the support of the Treasury Department, thanks to our officers, a software-based accounting system, the Village Council Accounting System, utilized for the payment of public assistance and the non-contributory pension 65 and over, was introduced. This has been implemented in approximately 90% of our councils, and the division has been working island-wide to achieve 100% coverage so that all village councils have the required tools available in being compliant. In keeping with our vision and strategic direction expressed in our Climate Resilient Recovery Plan 2020 to 2030, focused on building strong communities and a collective consciousness, we continue to build on the work under the Community Emergency Resilient Initiative, CERI. The budget also provides allocations for this initiative for training and community preparedness, focused on the development of community disaster management plans and the training of shelter managers and disaster committee leaders in shelter management, emergency radio communication, damage assessment and needs analysis, and supply management. Presently, Mr. Speaker, 104 facilities have been identified as emergency shelters for the 2024 hurricane season. Community disaster committees and local authorities continue to stand ready to respond at a community level since we have just witnessed the start of the hurricane season. The three regional shelters at Jimit, Casabruce, and Layu, which have a combined capacity of 950, this will significantly enhance the state's capacity to provide shelter before, during, and after a disaster. As we continue our plans for the new fiscal year, the Division of Local Government will continue to give attention to enhancing the capacity and efficiency of our local councils. Attention will be given to regularizing a few village councils to include the Petit Savan Village Council as we consider pathways for either their integration into Bellevue Chopin or to have them function independently. We have also received a request for expanding local government coverage to communities like Warner. I think the Rep referred to that when he spoke, where no local government authority exists at present. So given that they have expressed an interest in having local public services to be brought closer to them, We have begun to examine the possibilities and we should present them with a proposal soon. Mr. Speaker, some communities have also expressed concern over the lack of space at cemeteries in some parts of the island and the need for public cemeteries in some cases, public and private cemeteries. We are presently carrying out a survey as well to identify possible areas in the said communities that could serve as burial grounds. At this time, I turn to my constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm able to stand here today because of my constituents. Everybody spoke of the friendliness in their constituencies, but I have to say, mine is one of the most friendly, loving, patient people anybody could ask for. And I see Honorable Skerritt knocking hard because you experienced that yourself. Yes, man. Nice people. Small constituency, Mr. Speaker. But once you come there, you can leave. Very nice. I mean, this is why we could not survive during COVID, you know. We just like to hug people, love them, kiss people. So it was difficult for us to yeah, man. And we welcome visitors with open arms. So we get visitors from here. We like a whole tourist industry by ourselves. Mr. Speaker, but you can attest to that. But who am I speaking with, the man? I mean, you left Roseau, River Street to be exact, and you came all the way to Grand Farm just to find a wife. I mean. Somebody, man, you know him. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, translate.
I shouldn't even be talking
Translate.
that. What did I say? What you saying?
Say, Saukadimwe.
Saukatan,
What are you telling me?
what are you telling me? Sorry. I think I had it right the first time, though. But Mr. Speaker, as loving, as caring, as understanding as they are, I cannot take them for granted. And so I want to inform them that this budget, which was carefully crafted so as to meet the needs of every Dominican, is certainly going to address some of their needs in many ways. Mr. Speaker, my constituency, as you are aware, thrives on agriculture and has been so for many years. Our farmers take pride in what they do. Farming is a tradition for experienced farmers, men and women alike. We also have an organized women's group for years now, mainly focused on organic farming. And Mr. Speaker, I'm fully aware that the Honorable Minister has been taking care of my farmers. And I'm happy he spoke before me because they heard. Yes. So right now, I have no fear. Farmers are in good hands with Honorable Roland. Yes, it was election, we could even make a thing there one time. Yeah, we need to. Yeah. I come in here. From my end, we have tried to assist in small ways, Mr. Speaker, little fertilizer distribution. You visit their farms, of course. Every weekend, I am like a market at my home too because they are nice people. They just bring things. Sweet pepper, seasoning pepper, and they put back, I dash in. You have to come again, anything. I thank Mr. Speaker, we encourage them also because we have the land, we have the rain, we have the fertile soil. So we encourage them to do a lot of backyard gardening. And I want to thank Mr. Johnson Drago, or Castle Bruce man over there, man, along with our Chinese friends at the Chinese Agricultural Mission. Mr. Speaker, they continue to give us seeds and seedlings every time. They even helped some farmers with their irrigation practices. They even covered some of our greenhouses. You know all that about your board. Yeah, man. They're really helping, man. And I really want to thank them for that. We even brought farming to the school, Mr. Speaker, and our school garden is doing well, feeding our students with vegetables and ground provisions on a daily basis. And as you are aware, Mr. Speaker, that our dashing is second to none. It is well known for its dryness and it's taste. Yeah, every time I see dry dashing in Rosemary, I know it come from Grand Farm. Anytime. Sweet dashing. I also have engaged 2 ladies and 2 men to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that our school garden will continually supply the schools with food on our children's table. Mr. Speaker, you heard the minister again speaking of plantain and banana farmers. I'm happy to hear that too, because I have some banana farmers that really want to push that. Jackson, George, and those people. And plantain. The Southeast is just known for plantain. I think we surpass the country on the Southeast for plantain production. That's number one. Yeah, man. I take up Miss Honorable Williams, Laplain, Laplain and Grantham, but Laplain has more, but it's Southeast, so we take that. Right. Leading producers in plantain. I take pride in this. I take pride in honoring at this time Colma Shillingford. Yes. Very hardworking farmer man. I meet Mr. every morning. I'm going down on the road, going to his, yes, man. And our farmers have to know that farming is hard work. Rain or shine, the outside. The Lawrence family in Foyal, famous plantain growers as well. Mr. Ivan Pascal, a young man from my constituency. He was driving his truck before, but he realized farming is the way to go. And he has opened up, expanded his farm, and the man is a big man now. He's probably hearing me and shaking his head. I also want to thank Mr. Solomon Pascal, of course, very passionate about his job. And solo, working with the farmers, especially the plantain and banana farmers, so that they can at least reach their full potential. I applaud that in him. So we are trying to do our best, Mr. Speaker, and at the same time we are trying to engage the younger ones so they can live up to the tradition. So I was one of those who highly applauded the efforts of the ministry when they introduced the Youth in Agriculture program. We did that at the State House. I think I addressed them at that time. And this really captured the hearts of our young people. So they approached me and they said, well, they called me Miss Gretta. We think farming is the way to go, so we want you to help us. So last week, they were granted an educational tour to the agricultural mission in Portsmouth, and they also visited the tissue culture lab. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, I was amazed by the heightened interest that these young people displayed. When one of them told me, Miss, what agriculture are you doing in school? So now I see what the book was saying. Yes, the exposure was good for them. And it's the type of questions they ask. And I just marveled. So much so that the Chinese told me, whenever I'm ready to start with them, they want to come forward to guide them as to how to go. So we have the land there, Mr. Speaker, you know we have land.
You will dragon fruit now?
We get a lot of dragon fruit, all different colors. Purple, white, yeah, we get that. So, Mr. Speaker, we are ready to begin. I want to help them. Whilst the desire is there, whilst they are motivated, I want to try my best to help them. Mr. Speaker, I also welcome the allocation in the budget made to the rehabilitation of the abattoir. I say so not only because I have profited, well, I don't use profited before people think this money I was getting. I'm speaking of the constituency, so it's not me, it's my people, immensely from its operations. But the income, by the income generated from our poultry farmers, we had a lot. Yeah, my boy always used to see me that white thing, packing his chickens. Of course, I would always get mine on the side. But he was doing very well. A few of them doing very well. And so I want to let them know that we will begin soon enough. As soon as we open for business again, money will come back in the pockets. Feeder roads, while some with farmers, Mr. Minister, I see the allocation for the rehabilitation of feeder roads. And whilst mention was made that assistance will go to those highly productive areas, I have some farmers that need some help. I have been helping them with a few cement and tariffs just to make it accessible, but really and truly,
Yes, the Moncton Hotel.
yeah, 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 yeah. We have in Grand Font too, Tiguanfont, all those places there. Mouchepia Road. We have to try to see how we can help them.
You will maintain it, sorry.
Yeah. Any little help I can get, I'll take it. Anything to help my farmers and keep them motivated. Mr. Speaker, the budget makes allocation for the rehabilitation of youth centers. Of course, that's under the Ministry of Culture. And this financial year, we commit to rehabilitating our youth center at Monjon. And I am not doing that because I am the PAL rep. It's because our youth officers have a challenge in the in the southeast district. There is no office for them. And it has been so for a while. So we have the building, it's covered, but it needs some work. So once the allocation is made, we will try to see how we can find a place for them so the officers can sit down and based on the work done for the day, come back and have a discussion. Mr. Stedman must be smiling as I speak because he sees the need for this in the southeast. We have obtained the estimates. It will be reviewed and I give the assurance that it will be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, the budget also speaks to the $8 million project under the Ministry of Public Works, Water Sector Strategic Development Plan, which aims to provide a safe, reliable, resilient water system for the constituency. We are faced with challenges, of course, and anybody who knows Granford can figure out the challenge we would have. But it is far greater in Monjon and Rivière Syrique because the people there go for days without water. With Granford, once it rains, we haven't got water. Strange enough, you'd think the rain would bring water. Once it rains, we haven't got water. But with Monjon and Rivière Syrique, days without water. So I am happy that the WASCO is going to assist us, of course, through the Ministry of Public Works. I know they have to get those pipes over the mountains, in the hills, over the valleys. But with the 8 million, we should be able to get pretty close to where we want to be. The employees have been on the ground, the WASCO employees, and they're working with our self-proclaimed historian, Mr. Titus Pascal, because Titus is the one taking them around and pointing out whose land this is, where they should pass this. I applaud him, I appreciate the effort. And with that, they have started some work. And so the constituency thanks the government of Dominica and DFID for looking, and we look forward to the completion. Mr. Speaker, we also have funds allocated for the support of our social safety nets in the community. Mr. Speaker, we do not take those gifts for granted. These social programs come as a blessing to many of our less fortunate in the constituency and in constituencies around Dominica. And as a community, we are grateful to the government for this intervention. These forms are submitted for school books, for uniforms, for shoes. I mean, parents just have life sweet. The government takes care of them. And then I also want them to know that they will receive their school supplies, their bags, and their back-to-school packages as usual, as soon as we're ready to start in September. With regards to housing, Mr. Speaker, let me reach out to the few, and I stress on few people who are still awaiting proper housing. If you drive to Granford, you'll believe there's no problem with housing. No problem at all. But you have one or two in between. Mr. Speaker, you probably saw them already. They have the land, which is very good. The land is theirs. So our work becomes even easier. So I am putting it at 3, at least, who are in dire need of housing, and we can try to see how we can build for them. Additionally, I am in the process of completing, of course, a list for finishing touches on their homes, because some people have tried to do work on their own. I applaud them for that as well. So we can try to give them a more decent home by just adding those finishing touches. So this I can hand over for you soon. Mr. Speaker, sports brings communities together. And we are well known for our sporting community. Ah, boy, I know Mr. Honorable Lockhart is waiting to tell me something. Whilst we can boast about being the football capital of the East, no, I'll give some teams a little break. You watching me. We have the ability to outperform any team in any sport, be it rounders, volleyball, cricket, dominoes, even Mr. Speaker. Just name it and we win it. So, Mr. Speaker, there was no hesitation, absolutely no hesitation in selecting the community of Grandford for a lighting project. I mean, it was plain. The lights are up, the council has signed the documents, the electricals have been tested, and we are with Domlac, who should be in Grandford anytime soon, maybe as I speak, for full connections. I pray for that day when that field will be lighted up. A well-deserved project. I thank the government. Government I'm proud to be a part of. I thank my honorable minister too for working with me on this. This has always been a challenge for us as a top football team, the Surgical Southeast football team, because those men couldn't practice as they pleased, Mr. Speaker. Most of them work in town. They come from their gardens, and it's already dark. The sun rises in the east, but it sets in the west. So darkness comes to us quickly. And there was a time I had to speak to them, and I didn't even know who I was speaking to because I couldn't see them. So if they had left and gone, I would not even have known. So, no, that just shows you how dark it is. So I'm happy now. The lights are up and everybody can see it. And as soon as Domlek can give us that opportunity, games will begin. And be careful, because now any team coming forward to play against them, they have to be well prepared. Honorable, what is his name again? Yes, Pinad. Watch it. I know the incentives. In Curacao. In Curacao. I did, I have. I have. Mr. Speaker, we also have allocations for rehabilitation of hard courts. Yes, we have to examine the possibility of resurfacing some of them as well, because we have a few that have been reported to us, and we want to ensure that to let the games go on. Mr. Lockhart, I see you watching me and smiling, but we are going to try to see how well we can do that this year. Mr. Speaker, other areas where assistance will continue this year, of course, my summer school program is on. This is a way of keeping our students, both primary and secondary students, occupied during the long holidays. As the saying goes, Satan finds mischief things for idle hands to do. So we began this week and will engage them in fun activities, in sports, art and craft, talent days, public speaking activities, and many more, and will culminate with a field trip around the island. We did that last year. It was an enjoyable experience for all of them, and we intend to make this year even better. The Breakfast Club will continue at the school, of course, this time in a more structured manner when school reopens in September. I will continue to assist the schools, the church, and community activities, the councils, in whatever way possible. Of course, Mr. Speaker, or any teams continue to do well. I want to thank the Prime Minister again for the engagement of close to 200 interns under that program. Bear in mind, not all of them are under the beautification project. Some are within the private sector, some are school mentors, and just recently we had 5 of them appointed into the public service, and I want to give the government Yama praise for that. But Mr. Speaker, I want to commend those in the beautification team. Those who work especially on that Poncase, not Poncase, Cassibus Junction to Rosalie Road. Mr. Speaker, it's a joy for me to be driving home from work and seeing that completed work. Boy, we're talking about people can clean, our people can clean. I think it's just a thing in Dominicans. We are good. Oh man, you could eat from the ground. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the entire team, as well as our supervisors and team leaders, Jones, Carlos, Juanita, Teresa, and Gloria. Thanks to all my caretakers under the Yes We Care program and the NAP. Mr. Speaker, these people have become very special to me. I am passionate about the care of the elderly. I saw what my mother went through.
5 more minutes.
And I will finish, man. I almost there. I hope so. And then I know that to care for the elderly is a blessing in itself. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm trying my best with them to let them feel special. So we celebrate birthdays, we cook food here and there. I even bought scrubs for them so they can dress and go to work looking professionally, because you want them to remain to at least help the elderly. Ms. Joan Lawrence is the supervisor for this team, and I want to big her up and say special thank you to her now. Mr. Speaker, we have been telling people over and over again about our major transformative projects that are at various stages of development, so they too cannot be caught off guard, so they can position themselves for the opportunities that will avail themselves through those projects. Mr. Speaker, I'm one that cannot wait for that airport. No place in Dominica is too far. I cannot wait for the airport because I know benefits will trickle all the way to Rosalie, all the way to the Rosalie Resort. Farmers will get things to sell. It will work. And Mr. Speaker, the cable car project, I'm to zoom into that for a few minutes because my constituents have gained employment there. Mr. Speaker, are some young people, male as well as female, on that project. About 12 of them. Mr. Speaker, they love it there. They may love the money more because they're very well paid. They're not even troubling me. Sometimes I even get a little more once in a while. But what I love about it is the fact that they tell me they are learning on the job training for them. So even when they leave, they can move on to do something else. Mr. Speaker, even one of my young ladies is operating one of the heavy equipment on that. No, man. I'm happy for them. I'm shivering under my little jacket there. I'm proud of them. And I know that good news travels fast, so I hope by saying that I won't get too many people coming to me to see if they can go there. But I want to thank Mr. Paul John Hope, Pablo, for bringing them on board and checking on them for me whilst he's working there. Mr. Speaker, I could go on because the budget is replete with opportunities for young people, for people in Dominica on a whole. But I know the main request for my constituents is the health center. That is all they're asking for. This is all we want. So, Mr. Speaker, I give them the assurance this 31st day of July, 2024, that this government will deliver and build a brand new state-of-the-art health center, just as was promised by the Honorable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, you see, all you taking time to clap and all you making those people say all you didn't want to clap. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I offer heartfelt thanks to all my constituency teams, group presidents and executives, my secretaries at the office, the staff at the Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, Ms. Bell, my secretary, our permanent secretary, very hardworking young lady, Ms. White, my dearest colleagues, thanks to you for your support over the year, and all those who in one way or another assist in helping to build that dynamic Dominica that we all envision. May God bless us all. Mr. Speaker, once again, I pledge my support for this year's budget. I thank you.